Hey, everybody. On this episode of Crying in My Car, a podcast for teachers, we have a fantastic guest. We have an old student of mine. Will it go well, or will she divulge all my secrets? Who knows? Also, in New York City, students are coming to class high. What's the deal with that? And where are the Doritos? And lastly, we have a follow-up on an article that we talked about last week on Charleston County teachers receiving a bonus. Is it coming or is it not? Well, tune in. This episode of Crying in My Car starts now. Hey everybody, this is Crying in My Car, a podcast for teachers. My name is Devin Siebold. Got my good buddy, Mr. James Yan. We're comedians, former teacher here, and a current parent dealing with it. And also, we have a super special guest today. Something that I was like, will I ever do this on the podcast? And I love this girl so much.
Aw, nice.
Hope was a student of mine when she was 12 years old. And she has been asking so much. She's like, can I please get on the podcast?
Oh, nice.
And we've tried to set it up so many times through hurricanes, relocating the studio, through kind of everything kind of not lining up. And today we are finally able to have Hope on our show.
Hope!
So,
Yes, Hope!
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're
welcome.
welcome. She is a ball of energy. She is an amazing student.
I can
and
tell.
I taught her sister as well. Now, I know, Hope, you have hit me up so much. We've been friends for many years. I see you around town. I see you doing all the stuff that you do in terms of working. I've seen you at your job, which is wild to me because I taught you when you were 12, and then I see you working. And I see you doing big things, and every time I see you, a new gray hair pops up right on my beard, and I'm like, I'm getting older. But it's been great seeing you grow.
Thank you.
You also are kind of taking your expertise of children's books and podcasting and doing online things, and you have something that you're kind of being a part of now, right?
Yes, so I'm working on a new podcast with Disney entertainer Genevieve Goings, and you know Genevieve. She was on Disney Junior and everything. Still is on Disney Junior. We're working together on a new podcast called Storytime Adventure Club. I can't reveal much yet, but it is coming out soon.
Oh, nice.
Does it have kids' books? Because I may have wrote one.
Hey, I'm
All
about to
new
write
original
one.
stories, fairy tales, everything. We act out all the stories. We've got some teacher resources, mostly containing scripts for teachers and students to
Nice.
act out in their classrooms. And I'll be happy to come back when I have more details on
Sure.
that. So
I like
Yeah.
that.
yeah.
That
So-
sounds pretty cool, ambitious, and sounds pretty useful, too.
So it's
Thank
awesome.
you.
So
Yeah.
you can actually watch them do it, and then you can have the resources yourself to take it back to your classroom.
That sounds like it.
Right.
Yeah, that'd
Look
be pretty
at
cool.
you.
Right.
There you go.
And it's going to be audio, so
Thanks,
it's
Hope,
going
for
to be like
giving me
audio drama.
Thanks for giving me more work. I appreciate it. Every teacher's out there is like, thanks. Appreciate it. More to
Thank
do.
you.
No,
Gotcha.
that sounds more interactive, more hands-on. I like
Thank
doing
you.
more interactive stuff and trying. I was a different sort of teacher.
Okay.
I was younger, so I feel like there's a
How do you do fellow kids?
yeah,
kind of energy.
I know. It's like I just think there was an easier connection because I was like, yeah, I know what you know. You
Yeah.
know, I experienced what you experience, and they were coming into cell phones at the same time I was coming into cell phones.
That's the
And-
thing. You guys
and-
had social media at the same time.
Yep. And
Yeah.
so it was wild. Yeah, we did have social media, and then that's how they all followed me. And suddenly,
Which don't
Everyone
forget
in
to
my
follow
class
us.
had it.
yeah, everybody added me.
Everyone added it.
It was, and I'll tell you right now, that actually worked to my benefit.
Oh, yeah.
Because now I know all of them, and I know one of them's a mechanic,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, hey, good old Mrs. Siebold needs some help.
There you go.
And then one of them, this is going to age me so much.
Oh, my
One of them, I
gosh.
sold my child's car seat to him to use for his child.
Look at
Oh
that.
my God.
When I gave it to him, I was like, how old's your kid? He's like, oh, yeah, he's this age. And I was like, you have a child the same age as my child?
Oh, wow.
And I taught you? You know, I mean, like, it's wild, man. Teaching is one thing.
Yeah.
You think of it as a year teaching kids. That 1 year stretches your entire life. You'll know people like Hope forever. You'll see them constantly in the real world and keep up with their goings on. And then they come to my comedy shows, and it's
Which
so
is
crazy.
wild, because when you teach, and I can imagine, you look at them and they're that age. In your mind, they stay that age as the years go on.
Yes.
But then you see them, you're like, oh God, they're older now.
Well, it's funny because Hope is a connoisseur of public transportation, and she loves to travel all over in public transportation.
I took a bus to get here.
Yeah, and I
you
was
guys
like,
didn't need to pay for my flight.
She messaged me and she's like, "Yeah, I'll take the bus." And I was like, "Are you sure?" She's like,
I'm
"Yeah."
like, I knew it.
So as teacher, I'm like, "But she's 12." And she's not 12.
What would have been great if she would have showed up in a yellow bus.
She's in.
Okay, honey, this is your stop.
Yep. She's in her mid-20s now.
Yes.
And it's like, in your mind,
I've been
you're
taking
like,
it since my. I've been taking it since my mid-teens.
Yeah.
Not middle teens, but late
But
teens.
my hat's
super
off
late.
to you, and let me tell you
Thank
why.
you.
If you guys are not here in Orlando, the bus system is complicated.
It's-
if you need to be able to have like an MIT degree, or you be able to fold a fitted sheet, you got to be that smart. Because it's not easy. It's not like this goes to point A to point B. It's like, no, this goes to point A to Z. Then you're going to come back to Q. Then you're going to reroute and go back to C, go to D. Then you're going to arrive at E.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what it's like. So the fact that you can get around in this city, God bless you.
Thank you. I started in Polk County. I started taking citrus section. Suckiest transportation out there, by the way.
Polk County?
Well,
shut your mouth.
It's like it's like you gotta wait an hour for like a bus out to Legoland, and then and all the other buses are every other hour. You
Gotcha.
know,
So it's weird.
So say like, for example, I wanted to go to Lakeland because I had to attend a class at Polk State. Go Eagles, whatever thing, I don't remember. I have many gray hairs, just as
Gotcha.
Devin does. I'm sorry.
You really don't. Not at 26.
But and then you gotta wait. Like you gotta get there. Like if your class is at 10 a.m., you gotta catch the 8:45 bus.
To get to
You
a
won't
pack.
make it.
That's true.
I think that you got here because I taught you geography, and you're like,
Or she got here because she can use a GPS.
that's true. That's
Yeah,
true. She was
I've
like,
been taking public transit out here for years.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Gotcha.
I went to school at UCF.
oh, really? Yeah.
And the thing is, if you're a UCF student, and if there's any UCF student out there listening who wants to become a teacher, any UCF staff,
There's
professors, if you show your ID on any Lynx bus, you ride free.
Really?
Oh, whoa.
So,
Now
yeah.
you know.
Okay,
So-
good tip.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's what I give people. I tell people that, and so I switch it from a Polk State ID because I still have one even though I graduated, and it expires at the end of December, and then I switch it to a UCF ID, which I have until 2025. Thank God.
You know what? I could actually borrow it. We look alike.
Did
So-
you,
so-
James? Did
Bro.
you went to college?
I sure did.
And when you went to college, how long did you keep the student ID?
Like, I still have it.
I had it mine for so long that I did it until I finally showed it for a discount, and they're like,
Bro.
no. And I'm like, what? I look just like the guy. They're like,
you are
his
the guy.
father. Yeah, because I
You
am
are
the
the
guy.
guy.
Yeah.
So, Hope, tell him why I'm your favorite teacher. Go ahead.
Just look right in the camera.
Top 10.
A top 10.
She listens. Yes.
She only
The
went for
number
12
one is
years.
a Brit. The number one is a British lady who I'm not going to mention, but she
Oh,
knows
a
who she
British
is.
lady. Okay.
You're number 2 now.
No, oh, I'm number 2. That's all right.
Actually, number 3.
That's
Understood.
okay. Well,
Next to another lady
I'm
who's retired.
losing to a Brit. I'm about to write the declaration.
There you go.
Speaking of Brits, I wanted to give you a chance to shout it out because you mentioned your
Hey,
shirt.
Vinny!
Yeah, she's a big fan of Mr. Thomas English.
Aw.
You know what this is? He doesn't know. I'm not going to explain it.
Yeah, he'll know, I'm sure.
Gotcha.
I'm
But
not
he'll
gonna
love the
explain it.
fact that
yeah,
you
her
wore
shirt
it
that she's wearing
on
for the
our
people
show,
listening
which
to
is
the
weird.
Yeah,
I'm on Teens Adventure Academy, but don't make me wear the uniform.
no,
Gotcha.
that's okay.
Don't make me wear the blazer,
Just
the tie, everything.
couldn't
I
wear
hate
a-
uniform.
Couldn't wear a Mr. Siebold shirt apparently, but no,
That's
it's
all right.
okay.
No.
Patrick star on it. Oh, I can't see Patrick.
Actually, I have a SpongeBob shirt in my bag, so we're on the same
True.
page. Hope, going up through school, we've got a really interesting dynamic today. We have teacher, parent, an actual student. And we've talked on here. You watch the podcast. We've been crying in the car with you. What have you seen? What is the change in education? The things that you'd like to see. Note that you are talking to a bunch of teachers. So
yes.
This is great to have like a perspective of yours to go, what is the problem? Because right now there's a lot of teachers quitting.
Yes.
There's a lot of teachers frustrated.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of teachers that are, at wit's end with parents and with student behavior and stuff. Do you see anything that we're not seeing from the teacher-parent angle?
Honestly, I just watched the study and everything. I only got up to teachers and news. I'll be honest.
That's okay.
I'll be honest. But, I do see on the disability side, because I'm a person on the autism spectrum, I kind of see a problem in the disability community, especially since I'm on the autism spectrum. And so when I was Devin's student, I was one of the first first kid with autism in the classroom, in a neurotypical classroom.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Like, from my parents had fought for me when I was in elementary school, and I had faced a lot of challenges to get to where I am today.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
I remember distinctly your mom being a massive advocate and pushing for things that we hadn't seen prior to that.
Okay.
And so it became very much a hope can do it mentality, and we
Just
went
get
with
me
that.
just get me in that one little classroom. Like, we can do it.
I know. And
we
it
can
was,
do it.
And it was great
Like-
because the teachers banded together. You got very lucky, I will say, because there was a small group of us who we could cheerlead, and we could pick out those packs and go, hey, this kid, we really need to look out for, and also we need to make sure that they're meeting the goals and the achievements, and we were able to be very hands-on. We were a small school.
Yeah.
So you got a little bit of a very hands-on experience, which was great, but your mom was the forefront of that.
I love that.
Absolutely.
Right.
As a parent, I'm one of those guys who always preaches it starts at home, especially when it comes to education. And the fact that your mom was like, no, this is my child. My child's amazing. She can do it. And then you had all the teachers band together with her.
Oh, my God.
That is what it's supposed to actually be.
I didn't even know that. Because then I know that I was one of the first autistic kids in a neurotypical classroom. And it was like culture shock. Middle school for me was kind of like hard to get through because I was one of the only kids, other than another kid who I shall keep nameless. I shall keep him nameless. Just know that it is a he.
Okay.
Other than him, that not only had a student-specific parent, but I was also on the spectrum as well. So it was hard for me to find friends, hard for me to actually get along. Not really get along, but
Gotcha.
you know what I mean.
Find common ground with
Find
other
common
people.
ground, yeah.
Yeah.
Because then, I've always been the big fan of the kids' TV, and then, we're talking about 12 to 14-year-olds. I had to keep that closeted
Got you.
for years.
Understood.
Because I had to keep I still like Barney, so.
You're with two big kids right now. I'm telling you.
I still like, and that's probably
Just
why,
sing one of the songs, we'll chime in.
That's
right. You're fine.
That's why I fell into this producing thing when I started producing for Storytime Adventure Club.
Okay.
And when I also wrote some of the stories on Storytime Adventure Club. So I essentially went back to all the shows that I grew up on when I was a kid.
What you liked.
Yeah,
what
which
you
I enjoyed when
yeah.
I was a kid. Also, I did research on others that I had never heard of, stuff from around the world, and then added that into Storytime Adventure Club. So then, because today's kids, they're getting like Cocomelon. We all know about Cocomelon and
Yeah, we
everything.
do.
And they're like, it's rotting their brains. And then when we started this, my boss was like, just look through these. I'm like, I like some of these. The last one, it relied on too much internet humor. So I'm like, I'll just research these, and I'll research these, I'll send these to you, and we can look through these together. So one of the first things we watched through was obviously Barney.
Yes.
It was obviously Barney, and then Sesame Street I often went back to. And then
Okay.
I went to all the British kids shows. This is actually a British kids
Yes.
show. Another shout out to Vinny. Another shout out to him. I'm gonna probably not go through the show without mentioning him.
Okay.
Probably make a video about me. But anyway, so I went to all the British shows, Canadian shows, all of that, all the stuff. And I was thinking, how can I make this like something that I would have liked when I was a kid. And so I like mushed that together, and
that's how you kind of got what you did now. And I will tell you right now, being big kids that we are, I think the most creative people on the planet are people who don't grow up, people who still enjoy those things that they remember from their childhood. James Cameron, one of the biggest directors on the planet, watches anime like I do. And he never, I mean, he still draws from that when he makes new things. Christopher Nolan, one of the most recognized directors too, grew up on anime and stuff as well, and you'll see that. The Wachowski brothers, the ones who made The Matrix. So all these people who love stuff like we, big kids, they become the best creators later on. So you never forget that. Don't lose it.
I watch Forensic Files and SpongeBob.
Yeah.
When I'm in the hotel. Let me tell you, those are the worst dreams, because you wake up and you're like, Patrick did what?
Boom, boom.
Where did Squidward hide the body?
SpongeBob.
It's a good mix. It's a good mix.
He said, "There's the what?"
Yeah.
So what did you kind of started on something with things need to change. So what kind of change would you like to see in terms of when we talk about students with autism and things in the classroom?
Right. So what I'd love to see in the schools is I'd like to see more advocates who are actually on the autism spectrum. When I was a kid,
Makes sense.
This is probably going to lead me into talking about how Polk County, I'm sorry for the name drop.
No, you're fine.
Devin's old district.
It's his fault.
I'll tell you.
They did proclamations in the school board.
Yeah.
And so that includes Disability Awareness Month in October. And when I heard about this, obviously I'd missed the meeting because I don't go to school board meetings, obviously. I'm 26. What do I have to do with the school board? But as a disability advocate, I felt really upset about it because, that's going to lead to the regular kids becoming ableist towards other kids. And then the kids with disabilities aren't going to have that kind of support. They do, but it's like the neurotypical beings and everything who have actually gone to college and everything. But then you see it where it's well, they're going to be in special education. They're going to get a special diploma. They're not going to be able to go to school. I wanted to be less of an example of that. And actually, when the time came, I decided to go to college and set that example.
Absolutely.
I would love to see more schools advocate for kids with autism, Down syndrome to go to college.
Higher learning.
Yeah, because then if you go into a special education classroom, if you go into a intensive unit, they just have one option. But I remember being in elementary school and we had a inclusion unit. I don't know if it was because we were a Title I school. I don't know if it was because we were a poor school, and probably it was because we were a poor school. It was a very, very small elementary school. But we had a unit where it was an intensive unit. Yeah, sorry. I say I'm a disability advocate, but I'm not up to my terms.
No, it's okay.
But anyway, so we would see these kids playing on this old rickety playground. And then the PE field was right there, and then we had our own new playground. And then after fifth grade graduation, I never saw these kids again because obviously I went to the other school, and that's how I met him.
Okay.
And I never saw these kids again. And then, it was a big culture shock to go to a middle school with all neurotypical kids.
Gotcha.
And then have somebody also on the spectrum who was a year older than me going to the same school I was at the time. And then I was literally one of the very first, not only to be on the spectrum and go to school there with regular kids, but to go to school with regular kids and have a student-specific para.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
This is one of the things that I think your mom did so well that I will say we don't do well as teachers. And I won't speak for every teacher. I'll just speak for some.
Okay.
Sometimes we see a student with autism in front of us or a student with a disability in front of us, and we think, get them to the end of the year. How do I get them through this class? And like Hope said, you got to look beyond that. And your mom, I will say, like, I remember all these meetings because it was one of the first times that I was introduced to something like this, where I was like, okay, so this is how this is, and this is how she is, and this is how we can help, and this is how I need to change. And it was so many different things that were coming at me.
Yeah.
And I remember it very distinctly because your mom said, I mean, almost always, she goes, she'll need this for high school. And
she was thinking,
like, I was like, she just got to middle school, you know? and she's like, yeah. She goes, so
that's my mother.
She'll
She's
need
always
that for
thinking
high
ahead.
school. And then she can take that on to college. And I'm like,
You're at college.
yeah. And we're sitting here like,
like,
can she
she's
get through
a
sixth
middle school
grade?
kid.
You know?
Yeah.
But, you know, looking at it, like Hope said, it's one of those things where you got to go, okay, what's beyond tomorrow? And a lot of times in education, we don't look beyond that. We don't say,
This year.
Yeah, it's this year. How can they get this grade this year, but not how can we prepare them beyond that? And so that's kind of a cool mentality that, yes, I agree needs to happen. And your mom, again, was one of the ones that pushed that.
Now, your mom sounds like a superhero. Like,
Yeah.
your name is Hope. Is her name Faith? Okay?
Unfortunately, no, it's Kathy.
Which is Latin for faith.
It is.
My mother was called Karen.
Yeah.
And then, like, the thing is that when the rise of the Karens started, like, at the height of the pandemic,
Yes.
I was like,
That's-
oh, Mom, you're such a Karen. She's like, stop saying that. My mother was called Karen.
That's why. Yeah. That's when they rose up.
She's going to probably roast me when she comes out, when this comes out.
I love that. Now, shout out to her mom,
Shout
by the
out.
way. Yeah, your mom's great.
Shout out to Kathy.
Yeah.
Thank God your mother did not call you Karen.
Yes.
Now, did you see a change? Because, like you said, like when you first hit middle school, there was like a difference for the inclusion that we had and the participation that we had, and it was all very hands on. And then you went on to high school, went on to college. Did you notice things that you had to fight for in middle school being given to you then later on as we start to become more aware as a society?
So I've actually never thought about that. Probably yes, because then, like, by the time I was in high school, there was, like, kids on the spectrum in elementary school. And
Yeah.
there were more kids on the spectrum in neurotypical classes in elementary school. I don't know how 100% true is that, but I feel as if I created a huge change. And now with what's going on with, like, you know, the current events and everything, disability-wise, we're going back to the Stone Age. Like, essentially, I came from an era where it was just like I thought I was the only one. And now I have graduated from university, and there are loads of kids on the spectrum. But then you hear, like, news stories about kids on the spectrum who are, you know, excluded from class, suspended because of their disability, suspended, expelled. They're not given a chance to be with normal kids.
Yeah. And
They're
that's
not
what you-
given a chance.
And that's your goal, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
As I would love to actually, like, talk to principals and be like, hey, you know, like, let me be this kid's advocate and have my story told.
You know, that would be great to have, like you said, people with autism that are able to coach and be there. And I actually talked to somebody, I'm not going to go into too much detail because I don't know that she wants me to discuss it that much, but I talked to somebody on TikTok who is a teacher, going into teacher, who is currently in college, getting her teaching degree, who is autistic. And one of the things that we discussed, like, at length was her wanting to be an advocate from the inside.
Yes.
You know, here's what I experienced, and I can see the problems already because I experienced the problems, and therefore
Makes sense.
I can help mold the environment a lot better. Now, that said, the irony is that she's experiencing the problems in college.
Oh, no.
And is having issues getting through to get that teaching degree.
Really?
So the same problem she's trying to combat once she gets there are keeping her from getting there.
Yes.
And it's like so frustrating to have
It
that
must
as
be.
a society, you know. But yeah.
It definitely makes
Thanks.
sense, and I wish her a lot of luck because
Thank you.
if you
Not me.
and you, no, and you as well, because I'm thinking about it. Like, if you want to be a great baseball player, you go learn from somebody who's played baseball.
Yeah.
Like, it just makes sense. Somebody who can identify and can relate to what I've gone through, I will be more prone to listen to, and I feel like I got a friend, you know,
Yeah.
someone who knows what I've gone through and can be like, here's what I did to get over it. So yeah, I'm all for it.
Yeah, and also like the stuff that you're doing with the story time and the designing of that. I mean, that's something that if you enjoy it, and you are part of it, and you go, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Then you look at students that also have autism, going, hey, you might enjoy this because I really enjoyed it, and we share this in common, and that's kind of a good framework for what you do, right? Now, any other bragging on me you want to do before?
Or if you want to spill any tea about Devin.
No, we don't. We
You
don't
let
spill.
me skip class.
No.
I was being like, it was part of the initial YouTube page. I had a YouTube account and everything, and I was cyberbullied. And the kids in my class teased me about the cyberbully. And I had enough. And I didn't want to tell my teacher because I was like, if I tell her, will she believe me? So I hid out in Siebold's class.
Yeah, I had a little refuge in my class. if there was bullying or something and kids needed to get away from it.
And then I got caught.
Yeah.
And then I got caught.
You did. Yeah.
You got caught?
I got caught. And I got sent back to the class. And then my parent was like, we were all worried about you. We thought you were kidnapped or something.
Oh, no. Well, they cared. But how did you get caught, though?
I was playing basketball out on the blacktop while they were getting ready for the teachers versus students, because this was an art school, a K-8 art school.
Okay.
I had come during 6th, 7th, and 8th grade.
Got it.
So I was there from 6th, 7th, 8th grade, 6th grade onwards, and every year they had a teachers versus students softball game. Well, they didn't have one my year, apparently.
Gotcha.
Because I think they had it like, was it a volleyball or a kickball?
We had basketball and we had softball because I demolished on both of them.
I knew that was coming.
I dunked on children.
Devin's
I've never wanted to talk about it.
I dunked on kids.
It's the best.
Made them cry.
It's the best. I was
You
like,
didn't make me cry.
I literally was like, bully Hope, will you? And I dunked.
Kathy would have come after you.
That's so
Probably.
I would have come crying to her, and he would be like, "We did what?
Yeah, exactly.
He did what?"
No, I didn't dunk on Hope.
I do like the fact that you were running a shelter for bullied kids, Devin,
For
in
sure.
class.
I mean, a lot of a lot of teachers do that, Now, Hope, can people look you up online to follow you so that they can maybe be more into this new project that you're doing when you're ready to announce it?
Well, I have a personal Instagram, but I prefer to share it if only I get to know you first.
Oh,
Got it. Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
But my boss's Instagram is @GenevieveGoings. We don't have any official social media handles up yet.
Okay.
So again, it is coming out very soon. It's coming out hopefully next year. I can say, but it is coming soon.
Great.
Nice.
So
Awesome.
I will definitely try and come back.
Yeah, and we'll do some updates for you too, and let
Gotcha.
them know
Great.
how they can reach it. I'll post, of course, on my Facebook and on my Instagram promoting it as well. So,
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
No,
so
thank you.
Thanks for
Thank
coming.
you.
And,
A pleasure meeting you today,
Thank you.
man.
I
Me too.
appreciate it. You James wants your laugh back, by the way. He wants you
What?
to
You have a great laugh.
He wants you to sit in on all of our podcasts and
All
laugh
my
for
comedy
him.
shows, you get front row, man. Everything
Really?
you need. And your
Pay
own
for my
bus.
transportation. Pay for my transportation.
Well, thank you so much,
Thank
Hope.
you so
and
much
hopefully
for
we'll have
having
you back
me.
on the podcast.
Thank
Thanks again.
you.
Awesome. We'll be back with some more Crying in My Car in just a minute. Okay, everybody, we're back with Teachers in the News. Now, I got it right that time.
You did.
I was
You
about
did.
to mess it up. We're back with Teachers in the News. Obviously, Hope was fantastic.
She was great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I hope to have her back.
Yes.
Because she was awesome, and we talked downstairs as she was leaving, and she is the biggest Vinnie Thomas fan in the entire world.
Yes, she is.
So much so, she was like, I thought he would be on your podcast. He wasn't. So, anyways, I won't be back.
That's it.
Yeah, but no, I FaceTime Vinny. Shout out to Vinny. If
Oh,
you
you
don't
let her
follow
talk
him,
to him?
Mr.
Ah.
Thomas English. He was on the Board Teachers Comedy Tour, and
Yes.
he was on the other podcast too that the board teachers do, and he was class act, man. He FaceTimed her and was awesome. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, it was like meeting your hero. By the way, she's way more excited for him than me.
I know.
But
It's weird. It's weird. That's
let's
fair.
go into
No.
the Teachers in the News, shall we, Mr. Jan?
Yes.
Right now, you have a teacher shortage.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. We know that.
Extreme teacher shortage.
Mm-hmm.
But the teacher shortage did not take away from the amount of personal leave, sick leave, and sabbatical time that teachers get. It's in their contract. So you have teachers that are wanting to leave and going, hey, I have a vacation planned and I have personal days saved up.
Yes.
I am sick. I have sick days saved up.
Yes.
I have something that I need to do and I need to take my sabbatical leave.
Yes.
And schools are going, no. There's fights that are taking place, and the Plum School District is finding out that that fight is not one they're going to win. They are ordered to pay $30,000 to settle teacher grievances over use of paid leave during these sabbaticals. Apparently, the teachers have fought back and said, I have sick days. They tried to use them. The school board said no and refused to pay them for it. And they said, fine, I'm going to file a grievance. They did. They took it to the courts, and guess who won?
The teachers.
The teachers,
yes.
yeah. So I've seen this happening in other schools where there's a threat. Not necessarily that it's like you can't do it, we won't pay you. This is the first one I've seen.
It's implied, right?
Yeah, it's like oh, you want to take a personal day? Yeah. All right, you take that personal day. Yeah, we'll be here when you get back, And then there's retaliation.
Yep.
There's more work. There's people that are saying, hostile work environment after taking what you're entitled to.
Because it's in your contract.
It's in your contract. That's the thing that makes me so mad is it's there. It's not up to me to staff the school.
No, you don't go find your own replacement.
It's like, yeah, sure, you can take that. Just go ahead and go to the open house that we have and recruit 4 teachers. And for every 4 teachers you get, you can take 1 sick day leave. Yeah. It's like, no,
it's
that's
like a punch card now.
That's not how this works.
No. Yeah. No, let me ask a silly question because I'm not a teacher. Now, what about substitutes?
So substitutes, I mean, with the school district that I worked at, that's one of the few things that I loved is I would click that I needed a sub. And then a sub would be assigned. If a sub wasn't assigned, they would simply have somebody staff it or split up my class.
Okay.
In some states, they have to pay their substitutes. In some states, they have to find a replacement. So they actually do have to almost recruit. Somebody commented the other day, and this one blew my mind. Remember how we did the contract thing, talking about how this teacher had to pay to get out of her contract?
Yes.
One said, not only do you have to pay to get out of your contract, you have to find somebody to take over your classroom or you can't leave. Like it's literally in their contract that they can be sued by the school district if they don't find their replacement.
Who's writing these contracts? P. Diddy?
Yeah, I know, right?
Bro.
Yeah. Can you imagine?
Bro, this is awful.
Can you imagine if you're working at McDonald's and you're like, I quit, and they're like, no. You need to find somebody to put the fries down. It's like, what?
Before you can leave.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's like, and if you don't, we sue you. And then we take all your back pay. And it's like, hold on. Where do you see careers like that? I just can't fathom, know?
Okay, there's one thing that is for something to be illegal, but that's just morally corrupt.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
Yeah. And there was apparent this one's I really want teachers to look up this one because the Plum School District, I think this will set a precedent because there's a lot of teachers out there having to use sick days. There's a lot of teachers out there that are having to use sick days to also get to certain milestones. Does that sound weird? Like say you want to retire and they say you have to have this many days in the school system and then you have, 150 school days left of sick days saved up, which a lot of teachers have months of sick days. And they go, I'm going to take my sick days now, and that'll get me to that many days, and then I retire. They're saying no. I think this one being settled. If you look up the Plum School District, I think there's a lot of details in here that may help to guide teachers as to how to use them, what you can combat in court, what will win. I think it'll set a precedent to where people can go, no, you can't do that. This is Plum School District, I tried that.
Gotcha. Yeah, there you go.
And
Plum versus the people. I'm going to recite that.
That's literally like a Batlock episode, my friend.
Yeah.
All right. Man, sometimes the jokes write themselves.
Okay.
And I don't want to talk down about this person. I don't know what they're doing, but the headline caught me.
Okay.
A high school principal finds one of his teachers armed and shirtless after setting fire to the gym. I don't think that's a sabbatical.
Is it Florida?
No, it's Alabama.
Okay.
It's Alabama.
Oh, that is Florida adjacent.
It is Florida adjacent.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So a Florida teacher. Oh, never mind. No, I'm just kidding. No, an investigation is underway. Armed PE teacher set fire to the high school and was found holding a weapon, shirtless. No imminent threat to the campus or the community or the kids, which is good. But they were investigating the source of the smoke and found a teacher that apparently had enough. I hope that teacher, from a teacher perspective, from an empathetic perspective, something's wrong there. I hope you get the help you need.
Is it?
Well,
there's teachers at that same school like.
Now, this next one, I didn't even think about this. I don't know why this hasn't came across as something that I had thought about, but it's something that I did encounter. In New York City, they're having a massive problem because marijuana has been legalized, in certain areas. And I've
New Jersey as well, right?
Yeah, I've toured these areas, and trust me, there's dispensary and stuff all over the place. They are very widely available. The students in New York City, the teachers are reporting that they are having a rise of every day. Students are coming in blasted out of their minds, just high. Coming to school, they're meeting before school. They're getting high. They're doing the drugs and coming to class. Mm-hmm. What do you do? I mean, it's legal. That's the thing legal. I used to have students where I taught seniors in high school, and they'd come in and I would smell cigarette smoke. And as a teacher, I was like, I should report this. And then I'm like, they're old enough to smoke on the way to school.
Yeah, it's legal.
They can literally be in their car smoking cigarettes. Mm-hmm. But the cigarettes didn't linger to where I was like, son, are you high on Marlboros? I didn't. It was never that. Yeah. It was just like I could smell the cigarette smoke. Whatever. But I've had students that have left for the restroom and came back. And that was a different student.
Yeah.
And they've got the glossed over, and the smell is there. Mm-hmm. And teaching in a state where it's illegal, obviously I have to report it.
Yes.
And I would report it, and I was the narc. Sorry, but I have to cover myself.
I didn't know I worked with a snitch.
I had to cover myself because the other students are like,
yeah.
And they're looking at me, and I'm like,
you're like,
I don't have anything against it. If you want to do that in your own time, whatever. But you can't do it at school.
It has a very distinct smell. It's very pungent.
And so I'd have, boom, hey, can you come down? Sorry.
And then, could you bring some Cheetos?
Yeah. We need to lure them out of class.
Yeah.
But so the students apparently are regularly waking and baking before class, and apparently it is becoming, they're sluggish, they're sleepy, their eyes are red. Sometimes you can smell it too. The teachers are saying it's not good for learning. They can't learn if they're high. We joke about it, we laugh about it, but that's tough, man.
Yeah, it is.
Because you got kids coming, and it's legal.
It is legal.
They can do it. But it's such a hindrance because they are out of their mind. They're not going to remember stuff.
No.
And and this is the thing that, again, we're getting on this whole teaching evaluations. What if your principal comes in and you got 3 kids high as a kite sitting in the front row, and they start asking them questions and going, hey, so what do you think about class today? Well, I don't have any control over them getting high before school.
No.
But now you're going to evaluate me on their current state of mind?
Yes.
And also, what if they did it before a test? Suddenly their SAT or whatever state exam that they're taking, they tank it because they can't focus because they're just, whatever.
Yeah.
I will say that I think students also need to be more aware. There needs to be more education on the impacts of marijuana use at a young age. Yeah. Because I taught psychology, and I would tell my students, I don't have anything against marijuana use. I know plenty of people that use marijuana very responsibly, some medically, some just recreationally.
Pain management.
When you start using it at such a young age, we have a growing heap of evidence that it hinders your learning process and your brain development.
Got it.
We know that. But we're not implementing that. We're just going, oh, it won't kill you. You can't OD and this and that. But there are other implications that we see in school, we see with young kids, and they just that's not readily available.
Gotcha.
We don't make that part of the learning curriculum.
We do not.
All right. This last one here that I want to talk about is a new law that requires teachers to regulate technology. Let's just pile something else on them. Why don't
you guys aren't busy.
Yeah. Apparently, students can now forget about TikTok to begin with their time in class in Florida. There is a new Florida House bill that is being passed. Apparently, it's going to take effect July 1st, or it did take effect. I guess it took effect, but I hadn't heard anything about this. It bans students from accessing social media in public schools unless expressly directed to do so by a teacher for educational purposes. So, please just read between the lines with me on this one, James.
Okay. They're banning you using any kind of social media.
Yeah, you can't post in school. I mean, imagine, they're not worried about you using it. They're worried about you.
Oh, I thought it was you could use. Okay, so they're worried about you posting because kids are going to be.
Well, that's the thing. Using is posting. Mm-hmm. So they're banning social media use for students during school hours. Mm-hmm. Why? Because the bills and things that they've been passing in Florida schools, the situations that they put kids in. You have that one teacher that just did a brief, hey, this is our library, millions of views, and people criticize the Florida education system, and they go, oh, hey, how about we ban the kids from using it? And it's not necessarily just banning it.
I see what you're saying now.
Want fear and retaliatory action against kids that post about, oh, you posted about what you learned in class? Okay, great, banned. You can't, that was I don't know if you know that's a law. It's, man, it's such a, let's confine everybody and stop people from seeing the truth. It's so frustrating.
Okay, I know that's the real reason now. Thank you for enlightening me. But what's the reason they're going with, though, as far as why?
They just simply say there's growing concerns about use in schools.
Oh, yeah, I can't have you knowing the truth. No, what's wrong with you guys?
Now, it did put the pressure on teachers because apparently they are wanting the Florida Department of Education to publish a social media awareness curriculum for teachers to teach in their class for all public schools. Yeah.
Okay. I just thought of something though. It says you can't use it or post it, correct? Mm-hmm. It didn't say you can't take a video, wait till you get home, and then post it there.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, there's workarounds, I'm sure. But it says one of the primary concerns from the House is apparently the distraction of students to constant notifications, messages, updates that can divert students' attention away from classwork and assignments.
Okay, I got another dumb point to make, I guess. How do you stop them?
You don't.
I mean, you're going to look at every phone at every child at every moment of the day. You can't stop them from looking at how. There's no way. They're at lunch. You're going to stop them when they're going to class and they're in the hallway. You're going to stop them.
No.
What are you looking at? Nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wikipedia. It's like, yeah, okay. Well,
WebMD.
Yeah. For a second, I thought you were on TikTok. Well. Carry on.
Gotcha. Keep dancing.
Yeah.
You're doing the TikTok. Keep dancing.
Yeah. You guys don't do the Peloton classes between? I was about to do a Peloton class.
Peloton, right?
But anyways, so yeah, I don't know. I just sit here and I think we're just trying to oversee things that we can't, they're out of our control. But yeah, apparently the social media thing, they say privacy is another issue, all this. You're not going to stop them from doing this stuff.
No.
You're just not. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that it'll have any impact. I don't know that it'll change anything because schools have their own, having a law above the schools.
How you enforce it? Okay.
Yeah, I think, again, you're kind of putting more pressure on teachers.
Yeah.
You're saying, hey, enforce this, and it's a law now. And it's like, we couldn't enforce it when it wasn't a law, and I still didn't want it in my classroom.
No.
And not only that, but it's something that teachers use, too. Teachers also use social media. I mean, I don't know.
I got a friend who made a whole career out of it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Devin Siebold.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, that's me. Yeah, I did that.
Yeah. Well, I always thought it was funny, too. This is just a little side story, but all the kids got touchscreen phones, and I thought that was the dumbest thing when the touchscreen phones came out.
I was on that.
Now,
I was like, how are you going to press the button?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when the kids got touchscreen phones, they shot themselves in the foot. Because I don't know about you, but when I used to text,
mm-hmm.
I mean, I could text looking ahead at the road mm-hmm. because I could feel the buttons. Mm-hmm. A, B, 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 C, C, C,
mm-hmm.
3, 3, 3.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like,
doing.
Yeah. It was like those accountants where they're just looking at the numbers like,
yep.
Yeah. But they used to text in their backpacks. So they used to have their backpack on their desk. And in the early days of texting, I would see students with their hand in their backpack and they're like, nothing. And like the literally the backpack's like moving like crazy. And I'm like, you looking for your paper in there? They're like, yeah, 1 second. And then we made the switch to touchscreen phones. Mm-hmm. And then they'd have it in their backpack. They'd be like,
I can't.
I have to look at it.
I don't know what I'm doing.
And then I'd just turn off the lights and their face would glow like they discovered the Ark of the Covenant. and suddenly it's like, oh, there's your phone.
Whatever was inside that briefcase on Pulp Fiction.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if that's the way to go. All right, I got one more. I got time for one more.
One
right?
more, man.
All right, one more.
I'll allow it.
This one is just simply a commentary. It's an article, but it's basing it's based on real world what we're seeing.
Okay.
Apparently, there's been a lot of high profile incidents of violence in school post-pandemic. And we've done statistics. Apparently, 84% of public school leaders felt the pandemic negatively affected student behavior. 2 out of 3 teachers perceived more student misbehavior in 2021 than in 2019. And the students are starting to feel unsafe. The teachers are feeling unsafe. Lower scores on standardized tests, classroom instructions more disrupted. But the one thing that we're seeing is that apparently there's a lot of violence. And one expert apparently is saying that we need to not combat the violence with harshness, but we need to combat the violence with empathy. And the suspensions, the expulsions apparently are not the solution. Yeah, it's kind of one of those things where you have teachers going, if we just had more discipline. But then apparently the experts are going, discipline is not the way to go. I don't know. It's hard to figure out what's in the middle, you know, because you do have one part going, we need to put students in jail that hit teachers. We need to put students, in programs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this: if anyone outside of school hits another person, that's assault.
Yeah.
You get arrested.
Yeah.
You go to jail. And we talked about this the last pod, the fact I just learned that there are kids on parole that are attending high school. Mm-hmm. So I guess there is a system of rehabilitation, or it's supposed to be for these kids. But how do you combat that with empathy, though? Tell me how that's going to work.
See, the thing is I read this and I get so frustrated because I'm not sure this person that did this study is a teacher.
No, probably not.
Because the thing they say is that we shouldn't do exclusionary practices, removing the student. We shouldn't take unless they pose an immediate danger, they may be temporarily removed from the setting. But to be honest with you, I find that what I experienced during the pandemic of teaching, and I hear from other teachers now, is if you have 30 kids in a class, there are 3 that are ruining it for 27 other children.
One bad apple.
There are kids that are, violent, that are constantly acting out, that are not, doing well in that social environment. I don't know what the solution is to that, but I do know that you're not only hurting them, you're hurting the other kids in the class.
That's right.
By allowing that to continue, you know? So,
and that's why I ask, but empathy like that, no, there has to be something done.
See, the reason I don't think a teacher wrote this is they said the solution is positive relationships between students and teachers. That's literally cookie cutter teaching 101 that we keep almost mocking.
They tell the teachers this, but teachers don't believe it.
Yeah, it's like, okay, so they slapped you, but they slapped you with the left hand, and that's not their dominant hand. This was obviously a show of infection.
It was. First off, they did it WWE open fist.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't know if you've seen that, but they love you.
They love you. Yes.
Like, did you establish a positive relationship when they were giving you the people's elbow?
Gotcha.
It's like, no, I didn't know that was a thing.
Oh, the rock bottom.
Yeah.
He really wants to go steady.
I don't know. It's an article in Fortune, so it's obviously making big headway.
Mm-hmm.
The title, if you want to look it up, is "School Kids Are Violent Coming Out of Pandemic and They're Sending Teachers to the Hospital." Expert says, "Get tough is not the approach." If I'm in the hospital,
yeah, I want you to get a little tough.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I mean, I'm trying.
I'm trying, right?
Anyways, James, this has been the teachers in the news. By the way, before we wind down this podcast, I just want to ask you, how's everything been going, my friend?
Absolutely well. My television show, I hope you guys are out there watching it on Afro, called The Lowdown. It's doing really well in the ratings lately, man.
Good.
We're blessed. It's going good.
That's great.
And I've been getting a lot of friend requests. It's not a big accomplishment for someone like you being a social media star, but I am exactly 48 followers away on Instagram from having 7,000.
Wow.
And I started out at 2,000.
Yep. And I'm telling you, man, I do all these shows and they come up, podcast,
Yes.
love your podcast. Now, before we wind down this show, we have a small correction to make. Okay, so we did a Teachers in the News.
Yes.
And on that Teachers in the News, I got an email from somebody that was in that district where we talked about the news.
Okay.
And board teachers posted the clip of it. It's got millions of views on TikTok. It's been celebrated all over the place. And it turns out we may have not had the complete story from the teacher perspective.
Okay.
Now, here's what I want to talk about real quick. We'll end on this, is that in the Charleston County School District, we talked about their $5,000 bonus and how
heard about it.
them paying teachers more is going to reduce the amount of turnover. They have a higher amount of teachers there. Great, right?
Yes.
Celebrated.
It was
right?
great. It sounded amazing.
I got a message. I got a message from a teacher in the Charleston County School District. Hi, I am a Charleston County School District teacher in Charleston, South Carolina. Teachers have yet to see that $5,000 bonus. So many teachers spoke at the several school board meetings, begging, crying, putting private financial hardships in the public eye. We were told the bonus would be distributed in October and November. With the funds that they had, it would not be a problem. Now they're discussing distributing it in 2 checks, one in November and one in March. So you have to stay.
That's right.
It's literally, they're holding it over your head now. And it says it's a problem for so many of us that have debts that need immediate attention. We've stuck it out this long. We're not making enough money. It sounded good, looked even better on your social media, but the delivery is still lacks understanding. Would you please consider doing a follow-up? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I hate that stuff.
Yeah.
Man, these bonuses, they did that to me one time. We had a bonus that we were supposed to get.
Yeah.
And I remember I was about to get it and I was like, just so you know, I'm thinking about leaving to go on a sabbatical. And I had a sabbatical in my contract. And like, oh, well, if you're not actively teaching at the time, I'm like, no, I'm still employed. I'm still here. And I remember they said, okay, well, you'll get the bonus on the day you come back. Yep, the day you come back. They held it over my head, and they made me come back.
And they did that just to you.
Just to me. Yeah, but that's the
Shady.
thing is, these bonuses, they go, we're going to give teachers a $10,000 bonus distributed over 7 years. And also, you have to meet these requirements, and you have to teach in this Title I school, and you have to have this many students that are failing, and you have to get this many gains. And also, we're going to divide it up and only pay you if you make it all the way to the end. It's just like, stop with the hoops.
It's a false promise, though.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because we're going to have to keep checking in on this because I don't know if they're truly going to pay these people the $5,000.
I don't know either. I mean, it's one of those things where you go, yeah, they'll give it to you. So they say October, November, they're supposed to get the full check. I hope this puts a little pressure on them.
I hope so.
We're making it known, Charleston County, South Carolina. I feel like WWE.
You did.
We're coming for you. You understand? Sunday night.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. The $5,000.
That's right. Tell you what we're going to do.
All right. Well, anyways, I hope that they get it. And again, thank you all for supporting, rating us 5-star, sharing this podcast.
Thank you, guys.
Don't forget, I'm out on the Board Teacher Comedy Tour. We just announced a slew of dates. I mean, they just went on sale all the way into the mid-next year. A plethora.
Yes.
As a vocab word.
That's right.
And you can find James, how?
On Facebook and Instagram at James Yan Comedian. Thank you guys for following me. I love it. I'm only 48 away from $7,000.
Yep, $7,000.
$7,000.
$7,000.
$7,000. I don't know why I said grand. I had no, because I want money.
You're starting a rap video.
7,000. I don't know why I said grand.
Okay. Well, thanks anyways for tuning in. We appreciate you. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode of Crying in My Car, podcast for teachers.
Peace.
things. There might be a clip up there. There might be a clip down there. If it's got our face, if it's other people's stuff, come back. Don't click on that, But us, suggested things, that's us, Crying in My Car, Devin, Siebold, James Yan, board teachers, watch. New trailer for Indiana Jones. No, don't do that. Don't do that.